A lot of people ask, particularly up in Southeast Asia where it's quite prevalent, a lot of people ask, what are DC fees? DC fees in its simplest form are the charges and cost recovery that retailers impose on their suppliers. And the intent is to cover the costs for retail distribution from the retailer's DC out to their stores so that the supplier's product gets efficiently and effectively onto the shelves, into the stores, so consumers can buy it. In a nutshell. It's more complex than that, but that's broadly what it is. DC fees are imposed, and that's a strong word, but I think it's probably the right word. They're imposed by the retailers on their suppliers. Typically, all of the suppliers will be charged DC fees. There would be very few, perhaps really significant global suppliers will not, but generally speaking, all suppliers will be charged DC fee by their key retailers. It's an interesting situation because obviously these are fairly contentious to suppliers, but they're very important for retailers, and we're constantly being spoken to by both types of accounts in terms of can we help. From a retailer's perspective, it is critical to try and recover the costs for running their major distribution centres and the cost of distribution out to the retail stores. And particularly if you think of a lot of the Asian countries, they have very, very broad distribution. They have challenging distribution from a geographic perspective. They have population centres around the country, and in Thailand it's got a particular shape. If you look at Vietnam, Vietnam is very long and thin. If you go to the Philippines, they've got 7,000 islands they're trying to cover. So from a retailer's perspective, to distribute your product as a supplier, it's a costly exercise. They try to recover that cost. From a supplier's perspective, of course, the supplier is being charged for something that they have virtually no control over. If I'm a supplier, I deliver my product into your DC, Mr. Retailer. I then lose sight of it until hopefully it turns up on the shelf in a store. I have no control over what happens, and I have no visibility, but you're asking me to pay you money. I have a problem with that, typically. So both sides have a valid reason for being concerned as to how this works. I think for both the retailers and suppliers, if they actually understood the costs, I think that would be a significant step forward for both parties, because the reality is there is, in general terms, there is a lack of transparency. Retailers tend to be quite closed about it. This is our cost base, I'm not going to share it with you. Suppliers would love to understand, and possibly if they did understand the true costs of getting their product out to the stores, they'd be quite happy to pay. But there is that lack of transparency that happens around the transaction, that if you could open up that conversation, I think that would be a significant benefit to both parties. We've helped people in the past, and I think one of the best ways maybe to try and open the discussion is to be looking internally first and say, what are the things, particularly if from a supplier perspective, what are the things that I could do better? And let's have a hard look at myself. Let's have a think about, what does my retail partner really want? What would benefit my retail partner? Yes, they want more money, but everybody wants more money. what are they actually trying to deliver? What would be a true benefit to my retail partner? And that conversation, if whichever party is having it, have it first with yourself. What can I do better? What does my partner actually want? And then sit and have an adult conversation, an open conversation where you're prepared to perhaps open yourself up to admitting that some things could be done better. But also asking, I believe that you could help me, which would then help you. So it starts the rolling conversation on benefits rather than just you as a retailer want more money from me. Why would I do that? You benefit, I don't. So to have the conversation that says, what can we both do together that benefits both of us and takes cost out of both of our operations, that actually is the true beginning of a conversation that would actually help both parties make things more efficient and reduce cost.